Hey everybody, welcome to Elder Geek's Elder Speak. Today is Wednesday, March 5th, 2014. My name is Randy Yasenchak. I'm the editor of ElderGeek.com. With me today as a special guest is Michael Hunter, who is one of the main streamers for the site. Mike, how's it going, man?
Pretty good, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Mike and I pretty much tag teamed all weekend long, and we pretty much marathoned Elder Scrolls Online, the open beta weekend, or not even open and beta, the beta weekend over the weekend. And below the video, you're actually going to be able to find the links to all of our streams, and it's going to be like something gigantic, like 18 hours worth of video. So if you ever wanted to sit down and watch through it all, it's all there. But in the background today, there's also going to be some gameplay footage from Elder Scrolls Online as well. It might not be Realm versus Realm stuff. In fact, I think this might be from the public test server as opposed to the beta test server. So it's a little less populated than what people would be used to kind of seeing. Plus, I recorded all of it at the 0 hour last night, just before the server shut down. I was like, I got to get a couple more hours in. I need to get some footage for Elder Speaks for the week and stuff. But yeah, let's give our impressions basically on Elder Scrolls Online. I had already done an official preview. I almost want to count this as like a preview part 2, because there's even a lot that we were picking up after we were playing the game, for a while.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what are your thoughts? Like, I know we both pre-ordered, but are you still enjoying it?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm actually like all today I was like, man, I really wish it was still going. That's all I want to do. I actually found myself going back and playing other MMOs after it's ended, and they're just not the same, man. They just don't hold the same epic weight that ESO has right now.
I saw you were actually playing Rift.
Yeah. Yeah. Cuz that's the one I've been playing I guess on and off ever since it went free to play.
Yeah.
And I've had a good amount of time with it, and it's fun, but it's just like any other MMO.
I would totally ask you a ton of questions about Rift, but so, when we were going into this weekend, we both had the thought that since when the final game comes out, we were going to play as the Aldmeri Dominion.
Yeah.
And we kind of wanted to test out some other countries before we went into the final game, while we were still doing previewy stuff. So you and I played in Daggerfall along with like my brother and Patrick from the site, and there was a couple other of us too. Shen was on there as well.
Shen.
Leroy Shenkins.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny.
Shen was with us as well, and our friend Gustav was there as well. And so I got to admit, man, I think I really like Daggerfall, and I'm kind of afraid that everybody's going to be going right to the Aldmeri Dominion, because when we were doing the Realm versus what Realm, the elves were like greatly outnumbering like everybody else. It was practically 2-1.
Yeah, it was insane how many people they had. And I think that's just because I would say if you polled what race people played when they play Oblivion or Morrowind or Skyrim, I would say a majority of people will choose a race that falls into that Aldmeri Dominion, which is either Khajiit or High Elves,
or
the
Elf
elf family.
Yeah. I could agree with that. I think when people played Morrowind, there was probably a lot of people playing Dark Elves because it was Morrowind. But I don't know. Beyond that, like Skyrim was a little bit different. Like Skyrim, there were no like real racial bonuses or anything like that for the classes. I mean, they did have some minor bonuses, but nothing compared to like what the bonuses were for Oblivion or for what they were for Morrowind.
The racial bonuses never really came out in Skyrim that much.
Yeah, but the racial bonuses are present in Elder Scrolls Online.
But they weren't as I guess as big of a factor in choosing your race as like they were in Oblivion or Morrowind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you think of Daggerfall itself?
I actually really like the Daggerfall starting area so much better than when we played Aldmeri Dominion the weekend before.
Yeah.
So it sucks because like I know we're gonna play Aldmeri Dominion, it's gonna be sweet, we're gonna be high elves and stuff just like running around.
Right.
And then after playing Daggerfall area, it was like, nah, this place looks so much cooler.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I didn't think I was gonna do it. We actually picked Daggerfall because we thought that was gonna be the one that we would want to play least.
Yeah, the least.
And it ends up being like, it is a really cool realm, and I really like Daggerfall, and now I'm kind of thinking to myself, maybe I want to go Daggerfall when the final build comes out, because it also goes back a little bit to what we were saying earlier, like when we were doing the Realm versus Realm stuff, and we did a lot of it. So again, go check out that footage that's on the bottom and dig through some of it. You'll find some Realm versus Realm stuff, some big epic battles. But when we were doing the Realm versus Realm stuff, the elves were really like outnumbering everybody else 2-1. And the servers, like when you would look at the servers, I wish I had footage or at least a cap of this. The servers would actually show what we thought was our ping speed. Like how quick our speed was or how good our connection was to the servers. But no, what that little graph was showing was exactly how full that server was by that race.
Yeah.
And later on, by the end of the weekend, we were seeing like the elves they filled up like 7 servers or something crazy like that, or at least 4 servers.
Yeah, I think when we were playing, when we had 3 of us in RVR. I mean, is it called RVR in ES? I guess I don't want to call it
versus Realm.
That's basically what it is, right?
I think they call it Alliance War, but
okay.
I mean, the reality is Realm versus Realm still fits because Realm is just another word for a place, and it's just these places kind of fighting one another.
Yeah. So I think like when we had me, you, and Shen on there, I think Almere Dominion had 4 of their, I guess, because the way that Alliance War works is they have multiple servers. It's all the same map. You're all in the big serial map, but then they have multiple servers you choose, or I guess they call it your home
server, like your home campaign. Yeah.
Yeah. And Almere Dominion had, I think, like 4 or 5 of their home campaigns were locked. No Almere Dominion could join in
because they were so full. They were locked
because
off.
there's so many of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think Daggerfall or the Skyrim starting area had any of those servers locked. I think Daggerfall might have had 1 or 2.
I think Ebonheart, which is I think their name is Ebonheart.
Is that the other one?
Yeah, Skyrim basically had. I think Skyrim had 2. I thought Daggerfall had 1, but I could be wrong. The point is, like,
it was very few compared to Almere Dominion. Yeah.
Yeah. So and here's the thing: like when you go in there, the servers are listed alphabetically. And it starts with like Auriel's bow, and then it kind of goes downward from there. So I guess just as a tip for anybody out there who is going to be joining into the Realm versus Realm, either the next open beta or when the game finally comes out, don't sign on to Auriel's bow. That's going to be where everybody is going to go. Like that server is going to be hammered. Now, the thing is, like there were so many people on that server that of course this is a beta, and this is why they run these betas. But that server was so overcrowded that whenever there was like crowds of people around, you were either running super smooth at like 100 frames per second, or that one guy would be around. And you don't know who he was, but that one guy would come around and he would like make it
everyone
unplayable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where you would hit your mouse key, or you would hit like a key on your keyboard, or you'd hit your mouse, and you would get like one motion every 30 seconds or so, like that. And it was nuts.
Yeah, like every 100 attacks you try to make, only 10 would ever actually go out of your character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my hope is that one of 2 things happen when they release the full game. One, they find a better way to balance those servers. And I'm not saying it needs to be even across the board, because it doesn't, because then none of the servers would be full, because they had 50 servers or something.
Yeah, I think there was like 40 something plus.
It was insane. So if they filled up all those servers, I'd be really surprised. So I mean, just pick a server at random and tell all your friends which server you're playing on. And 2, they need to find a way that's detecting people's pings or their actual speeds, and then kicking people who have like a ping of over 200 or even like 150, I would say. Or even like threaten them or something like that.
Yeah. I think MMOs normally the ping isn't so much of a problem, just for the way combat ends up working out. Like compared to like in competitive FPS. Right. Competitive FPS, like if anybody is over like 90, it's like atrocious to play with them. Right. But I think in MMOs, like I think the ping limit is somewhere around like 120, 130 is where you can like be okay. Yeah. And when you start going over that mark, and it just gets really laggy.
But I do hope they implement something like that, because that one bad apple will ruin the bunch.
Yeah. Yeah, because it does seem like part of the connections, at least in RVR, work almost like a peer-to-peer when you're fighting. But I'm pretty sure it's still sending stuff to the server. Right. But it does feel like some stuff is peer-to-peer. Like when you're next to like that one laggy player, he's like stuttering around, and then none of your attacks work.
And it would be, we actually witnessed it, because it was like me, you, and Shen, and there would be like a group of 3 dudes coming by, and it would be slow as hell. And then when we would kill that group, suddenly our connection speed would just bump right back up again. Yeah. It was wild. It was like, oh, okay, we're good again. So it must have been one of those guys that had the shit connection kind of thing. Yeah. Of course, we have no like.
We don't know for sure that that's how it works.
But that's just our assumption based on what we were playing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I guess going into it, that's my suggestion to everybody is don't load up into Ariel's bow or any of the A-lettered servers. Go down to K. Or lower.
And I would say if you really want to have like a fun time in the RVR and feel like it's semi-balanced, don't go I would say don't go to a server that has, and it's gonna happen. Don't go to servers that have the Aldmeri Dominion already locked.
Yeah.
Because if they're already locked, that means they have the most amount of players they're allowed to in that server at any point in time.
Right.
And if yours isn't at the full 3 bars for population or almost about to be locked, you're gonna get ran over by the other faction all day long.
I in my final hours, when I logged into the public test server, which ran for 24 hours longer than the beta server,
Which we're all mad about.
which everybody was mad about. But like, it's funny, nobody was in the public test server. I joined in the beta so I could play with everybody, and it was a much different and better experience, I think. But the public test server had a lot of the improvements installed. Like the crafting was a little bit smoother. I think some of the other improvements that they were doing, like the being able to skip over the intro section entirely after I believe that was installed as well.
Okay.
But when I looked on the map, like the Alliance map,
Yeah.
I am playing Aldmeri Dominion in that, and when I went in, I was like, oh, I wonder if there's going to be any battles going on right now. And I go in, there's nobody in Realm versus Realm, and the elves rolled the entire map. Like,
Oh gosh.
or if not everything, they rolled like all but 3 keeps or something like that. Now, that's only, I think on the test server, there's only 1 war you can fight in over there. So there's a pretty limited amount of players. But still, it was like everybody who was press or everybody who had access to the public test, they all went to go play Aldmeri.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Yeah. I don't know if they're. It'll be interesting to see if they have to know that Aldmeri right now is a favored faction out of the 3, and so it'd be interesting to see if they do, like, I guess either separate servers, so that kind of pans out a little.
Yeah.
Or if they're gonna do like one server where you can, just jump to different, like, I guess, instances of the server, and then have like a limit of how many, whatever characters can be in each faction at a time.
Yeah.
I don't know. They have to do something to balance it out, because it's going to be almost too many on the one side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. Maybe do like a, there is a part of the pre-order bonus is to be able to allow like any race play in any faction. Is that still true?
Yeah. I think it's for any version, right? As long as you pre-order at all, you get that.
I thought so. Yeah.
Yeah, you can play any race in any faction, and that actually alone might balance out
to start it.
Yeah, to start it at least, because then people will be like, "Oh, I want to be an elf," but then I want to play in Daggerfall.
Right.
So that might balance it out.
Yeah. Or maybe even like once a month, or once every other month, or once a quarter. Just have like, hey, this weekend alone, if you create a new character, you can put them in any country that you want. And then people will like have that excuse to go and create that character and throw them into whatever country as like an alternate or something like that.
Yeah.
But for the people who, and this is a pretty common thing before anybody had access to the beta to the level that it is now, people who were complaining about like the races, like how they needed to be locked into those specific areas. I do think that races need to dominate those specific areas, but the people who are like, oh, if I can play Imperial in any race, it's going to totally break the lore and it's going to totally break whatever. It's kind of a bullshit argument, because even within the game, like if you're playing as an elf or something like that, and you're in the Aldmeri Dominion, the leader of it's either the Fighters Guild or the Mage Guild is an Argonian. Yeah. They don't belong in that country at all, but still, here's a character that the game has put in, and they are the leader of like an entire guild, and they're out of place. So clearly, it's not breaking the rules at all. I mean, if you're thinking about it as like a giant country, it's a gigantic country. There's people immigrating and emigrating all the time. They might not be welcome, but they're still there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you don't just go to Canada and only meet Canadians.
Exactly.
Sorry, I just got done doing South Park. I have Canada on the mind.
Yeah. When people were saying that, like, and I started hearing about the people were like, oh, it's not gonna line up with the lore and stuff, and like if you play whatever an elf in the Daggerfall, faction, it's whatever. Like, dude, people migrate, like I'm sure people migrate in Elder Scrolls.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I mean, and if anything, I'm pretty sure, I think I'm trying to remember, there was a point in one of the quest lines, because I was playing a Khajiit. This was back in the other beta. I was playing Khajiit in Aldmeri Dominion, and there's a point in one of the quest lines where you talk to like one of the high elf kings. Yeah. And he's like, "Oh, well, we don't normally like your kind." Yeah. He's like, "We put up with you."
Right.
So it's like they belong in that faction, but yet they still don't like each other.
Right.
So it's like, so if they start mixing and putting, it's not gonna make a difference.
No, it's
No.
really not. The whole racial conflict and being out of place has been a pretty steady theme throughout all of the Elder Scrolls games, as far as I can
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had an awesome time. I'm kind of in an Elder Scrolls withdrawal right now.
I know. And I know me and you were hoping new Elder Scrolls announcement at E3, but I highly doubt that's gonna happen with the MMO coming out, and then, the rumors of possible Falloutness next
Yeah.
game. So
Yeah. Yeah. Again, I think I said this during the stream. I would love it if they brought in an outside party to create a non-numbered entry into the series, but still like have it be in a full game, kind of like what they did with Fallout New Vegas. It wasn't Fallout 4, it was
Yeah.
Fallout New Vegas, but it was made by Obsidian, and it was probably the best, out of Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas. New Vegas was the better one. I would love it if they brought in a third party to create a different, Elder Scrolls game.
not so much a spin-off, but like a separate telling kind of a thing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that'd
Yeah.
be cool.
It wasn't all sunshine and lollipops though this weekend. There
No.
was quite a lot of bugs, but
Mm-hmm.
I think we bugged almost all of them, but
Yeah.
we ran into a couple of bugs that were actually progress stoppers.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, even the slash bug was a progress stopper at times. I had the slash bug one time. So, yeah.
Yeah, there was
But
a
yeah,
lot
I mean,
there's a lot of
there was-
quests that don't let you like progress to the next area unless you complete like that one quest that lets you get onto the boat to go to the next area, and there were like main little monster spawns that just were not spawning, and you would just see crowds of like 20, 40 people standing around waiting for it to spawn.
Yeah.
It was kind of sad.
Yeah, it was. It was. Because, I don't know, it seems like those kind of things are pretty trivial. I mean, not to say that game developing job are as trivial at all, but,
Right.
I guess just having the monster spawn, the only way, I mean, it's probably due to server load. Was
I'm sure it
probably
was.
a lot of the bugs, just the server being slammed for requests for that mob to be spawned.
I'm sure it was, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure it was, and I'm sure they got a lot of slash bugs on it, and they probably saw to themselves, crap, we have a bottleneck here. So hopefully, I really do hope they do another beta. I hope that they
Yes.
update the beta server the way that they updated the public test server. I hope that they, get them at the same level, and I hope they do another beta before the final release, because during the final release, if those choke points happen at like, quest halting points,
Key moments, yeah.
that's gonna suck. The
Yeah.
the game will get slammed in the reviews. Slammed.
Yeah.
I'll slam it in the reviews.
Yeah.
I'll be like,
Definitely.
I was stuck at level 12 for,
Whatever,
4 hours.
6
or-
hours, yeah.
or 6 hours. Screw that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they were definitely working on it though, even during the beta, because there are quite a few of those quests that we ran into that the thing didn't spawn, or the NPC never actually talked to you to what you needed to say.
Right.
The server, there'd be times where the server would go down and come back up, and that quest was fixed.
Yeah, they also
know?
had issues with their login server this weekend. I almost forgot
Oh
about
yeah.
that.
Yeah, that was Saturday night?
Saturday night it kept going up and
yeah.
down.
Yeah, it went up and down, I think I would say maybe every 45 seconds for about 20 minutes or so.
It might have even been longer than that.
Yeah, it was a while.
Yeah. Yeah. So, again, another bump in the road for them to run into.
Yeah.
How much did you play of the beta before this past weekend?
This past weekend I played a lot more. But the one before, when we were playing Aldmeri Dominion, I think I got around level 7.
So not a whole
Yeah.
lot. Like you
Not
can
a
get to
whole
level
lot. Maybe-
7 like in a couple hours if you really wanted to push it.
Yeah, I would say I probably spent 4 or 5 hours.
Okay.
Yeah. This
All right.
beta, we probably easily spent maybe 20 plus.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We put
Yeah.
in a good amount of time into it. I really don't know what I would say, to be honest with you. Like part of me wants to just I'm very excited about the game. I pre-ordered the game. I want to see where it kind of goes. I like the realm versus realm balance with the player versus environment,
Mm-hmm.
because I mean, you were seeing a lot of this too. Like you get to level 10, you're all excited that you can go do realm versus realm, and then you go out and you fight other people, and then you get frustrated because you're only level 10.
Yeah.
You still gain levels and you gain experience while you're out in realm versus realm, but you don't gain it nearly as fast as you do in PvE. So then you go back to PvE and get out a couple of levels and get some new gear, and then go back out to Realm versus Realm and play for a while until you realize, until you're unhappy again with your level, and you kind of keep bouncing back and forth. And I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think that's good though, because it won't make it so it's like, oh, the fastest way to level is PvP. Just hit level 10 and go PvP to max level.
Yeah.
And I think the PvP is interesting enough that it'll make people switch back and forth between the PvE.
Yep.
Instead of just being a PvE guy and that's all you do, you never PvP.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, there's PvE environment and quests you can do inside the PvP realm.
Right.
Which is awesome.
It's totally awesome. And the possibility of you like getting ganked while you're out there doing a quest makes it even more exciting. So like if every realm has that same mission, you could all be having that choke, that point where everybody's trying to explore that one ruin or whatever, and they all get beaten up on.
Yeah.
So that's kind of exciting. I can't wait to test that out more.
Yeah, and just going back on what you said, I know we said we both pre-ordered the game. And I have the Imperial Edition pre-ordered. Mm-hmm. And then you said you have the regular, but you said you wanted to get the Imperial.
I do.
And then I think you mentioned earlier in our conversation that they're going to have a upgrade system for that.
Not in this conversation, but you and I did talk about it before.
On our Skype,
Yeah.
Before.
On April 4th, I think, is the day that they're going to... So like a month from today or so. They're going to have it so that if you pre-ordered it and you wanted to upgrade to Imperial, you can. They're going to have like a system in place that you just go into your account and like hit upgrade or something along those lines.
Okay. That's the release day, isn't it? April 4th? Or is it the 14th?
I thought it was April... I thought it was a little later in the month than April 4.
Okay, but at least they have that program there, which is nice.
Yeah, that is nice. I didn't think that I would want the Imperial Edition, but I want to get it for a couple of reasons. One, I love Elder Scrolls games.
And two, when you saw the price of the mount in the beta?
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, aside from the price of the mount in the beta, even that, like, it's the fact that, like, you and I were hunting around for... There's lore books in the game for you to be able to craft different types of armor. So, like, if you're a Dark Elf, you can only craft Dark Elf gear. But if you find a book that teaches you how to, craft Khajiit gear, you can craft those too. You and I spent the entire weekend searching for additional books. And between the both of us, between this beta weekend and last beta weekend, I think we only found 3 books total among the both of us. Between this weekend and the last beta weekend. Which is not a lot. And we put in a ton of hours. And we were like intentionally trying to find one so we could troll the other one and be like, I found a book, mother...
Yeah. Yeah, I think the first one we found was when I found the Khajiit one in Cold Harbor, last beta weekend, and then you found the first book this beta weekend, and then I found the Breton book after you.
Yeah, but the Breton armor looks cool.
Yeah, it does. It's like a scaly kind of green.
Yeah, it's like glass armor almost.
Yeah, which I'm surprised is not in the game yet. At least that we've seen.
I think.
I wonder if is that. I don't know. I didn't look through the orc stuff.
I was gonna say I think there might be some orc stuff, like some of the mid or higher level orc stuff might be glass.
Yeah,
might be. But yeah. So part of me, this is
you just want that Imperial gear, man.
Part of me wants that just stupid Imperial book, so I can make Imperial armor as well.
Yeah.
The more we were playing it too, the more I realized how deep that crafting system is. And not just in like the whole like, oh, this is how you make the items, but in how you research how to make certain items and the way you actually want to spec your character. So people can, if they wanted to, spec a character that is specifically for PvE, and then they could also build a second character that they are speccing specifically for PvP play. And it's nice that the mail system and the bank system and the guild system, you don't need a mailbox to send mail. You just instantly send it. Your bank is shared amongst all your characters, I believe. Mm-hmm. And then the guild bank, of course, shares with everybody too. And what was nice about the actual bank system is if you had any materials that you could craft with in your bank, like steel ingots or whatever, you didn't need to carry them all the way over to the forge with you and craft with them there. They pull right from your bank, which is an awesome system. Very cool system.
Yeah, which is nice. More and more MMOs are now doing that, which is just saves so much time and then space on your bags.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For bringing home the good loot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say, being as we were like crafting masters this beta weekend, and that's basically get my main goal on release is just be the crafting wizard
Of one type of thing. You really have to
yeah.
pick like which one you want to do, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Is I guess because that's going to be my goal. Is I wish the bag slots for the bank, and then it's not so bad for your character up getting more getting more space, but the bank adding more bank space was really expensive. You ended up paying like almost.
The first bag upgrade is like 400.
It was like 400, yeah.
And then the second one is like 1,700.
Yeah,
the first bank upgrade is $1,000.
Which is it's $1,000, and then the next one is $3,000.
Right.
Which is a little much, like seeing as you're paying. I guess if you compare the bank space to your bag space, you're getting 10 spaces each upgrade for both the bank and the bag.
Yeah.
And in the bank, you're spending almost 2 or 3 times as much what you would for a bag upgrade. And that was a little annoying because like why am I spending more for a system that I have to leave the items there?
Whereas, well, I think it's because it also has that added convenience that your other characters can also access it. I think that's why. I think it's because of the cross-character convenience thing.
Yeah, I guess if you see it like that, yeah.
Because
I guess the way I was looking at it is like if I leave my items in the bank and I can't take them with me,
yeah.
Why am I paying more for an inconvenience like that? You know,
right? But no,
but if it's working where it works across, if you look at it that way, that your bank goes across all your characters, then yeah, it's pretty convenient.
Yeah, because then you even think to yourself, I've got my character, my PvE character, who is like spec'd to the max in like crafting stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He can leave like epic gear for your main or for your your warrior or your PvP character or whatever, and then just pull whatever they need right out of that bank slot.
Well, I guess now that you said that, I guess I didn't think about that. Since it does span across all of them, you're technically upgrading 10 slots for every character you make from then on out.
Right.
On the server.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not terrible. Like if you're just doing one character, it sucks. If you're doing 2 characters, it's great.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're doing one character, it's expensive.
Right.
Yeah. If you're into the alt thing, then it won't be so bad. Yeah.
When we were streaming, we had a lot of people that were popping in and basically. There were people like, oh, this is just like PlanetSide, or oh, this is just like Guild Wars 2.
And then the best one was, this looks like World of Warcraft.
Yeah, I was like, what?
I think I asked that kid if he was blind. Because the game looks nothing like World of Warcraft and plays completely different.
Now, like the PlanetSide 2 comparison is kind of apt because, the PlanetSide 2 is like this giant, PvP arena. But PlanetSide 2 also does not have like the player versus environment campaign at all.
Yeah.
And the downside is I don't think anyway, maybe it does, but I think, Elder Scrolls lore and storytelling is a lot better than what it would be in PlanetSide 2. Like PlanetSide 2, are you really going to care about the lore or the storytelling?
You got to dig pretty deep in that game to get the story out.
Yeah.
There's definitely story between the 3 warring factions and
sure. Oh, I'm not saying that it's not there. Yeah, I'm not saying that it's not there. I'm just saying like
it's not as heavy.
Yeah, the average player going into it is probably thinking to themselves, "I want to go and kill some people."
Yeah.
I think the average Elder Scrolls person wants story along with what's going on as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Totally. As far as the Guild Wars comparison, again, pretty apt comparison. The difference being like, Guild Wars 2 being a free service, and Elder Scrolls not. I think that's a fair comparison. But again, Elder Scrolls Online is going to exist on consoles, whereas Guild Wars 2 does not.
Mm-hmm.
And when people are like, "Oh, I'm just gonna go play Guild Wars 2," great, go play Guild Wars 2, have an awesome time. But at the same time, you don't say to somebody that just started playing the newest Call of Duty, say, "Oh, whatever, this is just like Battlefield. I'm just gonna go play Battlefield." Like, why not have more? More is better.
Yeah, more is always better, right?
Yeah.
I think in terms of RVR comparisons with Guild Wars and ESO, Guild Wars 2 does have like the turrets and things on the walls and the bases, but ESO allows you to plant. You can buy those turrets and spawn points, and you get to place them wherever you want.
Right. There is a level of strategy about it.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not stationary. And
Mm-hmm.
so if you and your friends get six, ballistas and start wailing on a wall, like all right next to each other,
Yeah.
that wall's going to come down a lot faster than the one or two stationary, turrets in Guild Wars.
Right, or better yet, if you happen to be like a stealth character, or just any character for that matter, and you buy yourself like one siege weapon and a like a siege camp, and you go journey in the middle of nowhere where nobody ever is going to think an attack is going to happen. You plant your siege weapon down, and the siege camp, like a couple hundred yards behind you, suddenly you're going to have like your entire realm spawning behind you to take over that castle.
Yeah.
So there is a level of strategy involved in it.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, you can totally, which is kind of nice about the big open PvP world is like, if there's a big fight happening down here at whatever this fort, you can just take your little group and just backdoor that fort into the other one.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And then once you get that one linked, then all your guys can spawn there and take over.
Yeah. Or again, if you just kind of want to go with the crowd, you could run with 500 other people running south to the nearest castle, which is a really cool experience, by the way.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it is.
When you finally crack a keep's door and bust inside, or if you're on the other side, like
yeah,
there was a point where I was on the wall and the wall blew up below me, and I was like, "Son of a bitch!"
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool experience. There's not much else on the market like it, and
No.
I think for that alone, I really doubt that it's going to go free to play for a long time. Like maybe in a year.
I hope. Yeah, maybe in a year. I mean, the sad thing about it is, more than likely, it will eventually go free to play.
In time,
In time. But
Most
I hope
do.
it doesn't. I hope it doesn't for a good while,
Right.
I mean, not to say, ESO is the next World of Warcraft, but, subscription models are still definitely a viable option for MMOs.
Right.
Like people always say, oh, but it's $14.99 a month. It's so expensive. Like, how can you ever afford that? It's like, well, I can afford that because I have a job.
Right. And I'm not.
I'm not sitting, at home all day just like hoping, to get $15 magically show up in my wallet.
Right. And you're not saying that in a term of like, oh, all your free to play gamers out there are scrubs, et cetera, because you yourself enjoy playing Rift, which is free.
Oh yeah, which is free to play. Yeah, and I don't think I've spent a dime on that game.
But I mean, here's the mentality kind of behind it. It's like if you had the $20 to go to two different like playgrounds or parks. One park allowed you to sit on all the benches, park, for free, use the restrooms, and it even came with a meal for $20. Or you can go to the other park that was probably more crowded, but you had to pay individually for parking, you had to pay to use all the benches, you had to pay for every single ride, you had to pay to do for like everything in the park. Like, which one are you going to do? If I've got the $20, yeah, I'll go for the full package thing and not worry about like the crowd that's just going in for free to just see everything and test everything, and they might not be there forever, and they might, fuck shit up. I would rather pay the $20 and get to do everything that I want there all at once.
Yeah, definitely.
So
and I mean, and I guess people are really gonna say like, oh, it's pretty expensive. I mean, if you don't go out to dinner, a fairly good dinner, if you don't go out to dinner one time a month, you can pay for the game.
Right, for your monthly sub.
Yeah, for your monthly sub. I mean, if you go out with your friends, you're spending $15-$20 a night.
Easy. Between gas and parking and like whatever food you happen to buy or not buy.
Yeah. So if you don't go out one time that month, then you can play the whole month.
The whole month.
And still go out with your friends the rest of the days.
Right. The whole month. Yeah. Yeah. So that's not us trying to sell the game for crying out loud, but we're just trying
we're just trying to say that the sub model is not, the end all of evils for MMOs.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think there's still definitely a market for it. And I know that there is a very vocal crowd of people who have played the beta and they dislike it. And that is perfectly their opinion to do that. But everybody that was in there and playing it, man, they were having an awesome time.
Yeah, we were having a ball.
Like hundreds upon hundreds of people in those freaking wars. It was insane.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen anything like that ever before.
No, I think the closest game that I've played that was similar was like Warhammer online. Like right when it came out, when everybody was on it, and the RVRs and those were intense.
Yeah.
And I got that same feeling playing the PvP in ESO, which was nice.
Yeah. Yeah. I do hope that they fix the bugs, though, man. Those bugs have got to go, because otherwise people are never going to get to level 10 to actually play the Realm versus Realm. and then they're just gonna have a mass of people that are crazy pissed off at the game.
Yeah, I would say. What I mean, I think most MMOs. I mean, this is just guessing. I don't have any facts on this, but I would say a majority of players that buy MMOs like retail and get the free month will play that first month, and if they don't reach level 20 or higher, they drop off.
Yeah.
And so between levels 1 and 20 have to be super accessible, almost perfect, like no bugs, nothing. And that's when about level 20 is when you catch your audience that will stay with you.
Yep.
So
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that the fixes that they did just with this last like quick fix or whatever, aside from adding in the NPC collision, which is that's a cosmetic thing. But
some people will enjoy it.
Yeah. But the fact that like now you can once you finish that first tutorial mission, you can then skip it from then on out. I think that was a big good fix.
Just go like if you come out of Cold Harbor, you don't have to go to that. Like if you're playing the Daggerfall faction, you don't have to go to that small desert island. You can just jump straight to Daggerfall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't able to complete a Dark Fissure. Were you?
No, I don't think so.
Because in Daggerfall, they seem to be...
No. I did do one.
Did you?
Yeah, on my Aldmiri character, I finished.
Were you able to finish it?
Yeah. Yeah.
See, on my Aldmiri character, I could never finish it. Like, I could kill the first wave of enemies, but once the Daedric enemies start pouring in, they would like whoop my ass.
Yeah. Yeah, you almost need a group for them. I think the one that we finished... there was probably maybe 10 people there when it was going on.
Yeah, you had a pretty good group going then.
Yeah, and you basically what you do is like you fight off like the first few waves, and then once the bigger guys come out, you kite them over to those like I guess they were like almost triangles or diamond things that are in the, like on the ground.
Yeah.
You kite them over to there, and those things will suck their power out of them, and then make them weaker. And then you can kill them, and then those things will fall into the ground. When you get all 4 of them down, then you basically beat it, and the boss comes out. You kill that, and then it goes away.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
I wish I had seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun.
I think I had it on stream. So I think it should be in archives. It's when I was playing my wizard or my sorcerer, I should say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I should check that out, especially in my moments of withdrawal.
I know, right?
I've been tinkering with some other games in the meantime, and it's just not doing it for me. Like, my copy of Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate came in for my 3DS, and I'm like, it's not the same!
Time just ticks by so slow now, man. You know?
But you're also
like
pretty psyched for
just
Titanfall, too, though.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's about a week out for that? Yeah, next Tuesday.
I can't believe it's going to be that soon.
Yeah, man, next Tuesday.
I can't believe
And then it's next Tuesday is Titanfall. About 3 weeks later is ESO, and then basically just be play ESO until Wolfenstein comes out.
Yeah.
And then what else? We were hoping Watch Dogs this year.
I was really hoping that Watch Dogs was going to be out in March. But I don't even know what the date is off the top of my head. I should know these things, but I don't.
I don't think they've said again. I think they just said they're just delaying it. But you know what? I'd rather have them delay it and the game just be perfect than push it and then it's it's not what we wanted.
Right.
So,
right. Yeah. That would be a massive letdown. The possibility of a new IP and then it just being a total suck fest. And then Infamous Second Son also.
Yep.
That looks sick as hell.
Gotta get a PS4, man.
Dude, 2014, we were just saying, 2014 is an awesome year just for geekdom in general. Elder Scrolls Online, Titanfall, Watch Dogs,
and not just games.
Yeah, a new season of Game of Thrones is going to be coming out. With any luck, he would release a book, but I doubt he will.
Yeah.
God, there's just a ton of great shit that's coming out. Oh, Witcher 3.
Mm-hmm. And then what, Dragon Age 3?
Dragon Age 3. Dude, just a ton of stuff. And then a lot of games I was really surprised about. South Park was pretty great.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, South Park's really good.
And Banner Saga was pretty great, too.
Oh, yeah, Banner Saga.
Did you get a chance to play that one?
I have not. I watched you play it on our Twitch, and I was pretty jealous. I was like, oh, this actually looks a lot of fun.
It is pretty fun. It is pretty fun. So this year's a really good year for games, man. And what's funny is a lot of them aren't for the new consoles.
Yeah. Yeah.
Except for Watch Dogs and Titanfall, but still a lot of them are like, I want to get that on PC. I want to get that on PC. I want to get that on PC kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh well. Any final thoughts you want to say about the game before we close this up?
Hit us up on our Twitch. We're gonna be streaming the game basically from release for a very long time. That'll probably be our game of choice for a while on our Twitch page. Please, YouTube community, please come love us on the Twitch. We'd love to have you.
Yeah, aside from me streaming my stuff on Wednesday nights, Michael does a ton of streaming over there. So, sign up on Twitch as well, and you'll get an automatic notification when we go live with stuff.
Yeah. Probably playing a lot of ESO over there. And if you guys are gonna be playing ESO, we more than likely we'll have an Elder Geek guild that me and Shen will probably run.
Yep.
So please, I'll put either mine or Shen's whatever our Bethesda handle for the game, either in the Twitch info or something. When you get the game, hit us up. We'll add you to the guild, and then everybody can play together and whatever quest together and things.
Yeah, it'll be awesome. It'll be great.
Yeah.
And I think that the game has it set so that you can join 5-player guilds too.
Yep, up to 5-player guilds.
So even if you were joined into somebody else's guild, like Angry Joe's Army, which I kind of want to join in there too.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah, but if you're in other guilds, join into ours as well. That way, at least you have a line of communication with us, and then we'll do as much as we can to hang out. As far as the video review, when that comes out, I kind of don't want to rush it because it's an MMO and they're meant to kind of be savored. And Shen had the great idea because when I did Final Fantasy 14, I did like 1 to 30, and then it kind of petered out because when I hit 30, I think we got like just showered with a ton of games that needed to be reviewed, and I was like, I don't even have time to play Final Fantasy 14 anymore. And I do want to go back one day and see what it's like post 30. But for Elder Scrolls Online, I think I'm going to break it down to do like levels 1 to 15, and then 15 to like 25, and then 25 to 40, and then 40 to 50. Something along those lines. Something manageable, and then, because the game does change quite a bit between those levels.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, just the beginning, whatever, 1 to 15 is like dramatic change, not only in scenery, but how powerful you get and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
Massive, massive difference. And even the quests, like the quests themselves get more dramatic as you go along as well. So,
Which, I guess if I was... Well, I guess the one last thing I'd want to say is if you're hesitant on this game because you think it's going to be like another MMO, like go out and kill X amount of monsters or do that, there are none of those quests in this game.
No.
I don't think we ran into a single quest that said go kill 10 boars or go collect 3 scraps of whatever.
No.
None of those. Every quest was basically almost like a real Elder Scrolls quest where it was like, hey, my family heirloom that I lost in this cave one time. Can you go retrieve it?
Yeah.
I mean, it was great.
The one mission that I did last night was, speaking of family heirlooms, you find this pendant hanging on this guy, and it turns out, by the way, if anybody's like, gonna be like, spoilers, it's for like one tiny quest that has nothing to do with the larger storyline.
And you probably might never see that quest.
If you play a different country, you might never even see this quest. But you find an amulet like on a corpse, and then you start hearing voices as you're walking around with this amulet. And then you take it to someone and you're like, what the hell is this amulet? And they're like, it looks kind of familiar. You should go to town and have one of the jewelers investigate and see where it's from. And then when they investigate it, they tell you what town it was made in. And when you go to that town, you find out that there was a guy who created that jewel to guilt the murderer of his son into committing suicide. From killing people, depending on how many people this murderer had killed, he would become guiltier and guiltier as he goes along. So what had happened was apparently the murderer had committed suicide, but then the guard who found his body also committed suicide because he had killed people on guard duty, and so it became this thing. And so that even then at the end you have the option where you're like, yeah, go ahead and put on the amulet and kill yourself because you're responsible for all these other people, or you can have him just destroy the amulet. So it's really neat. You get a ton of really cool consequence choices like that in the game.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's a lot of fun quests. That one might show up in here in the background, but yeah. I think that's all I got to say, man. I could really talk about the game for hours and hours, and
I mean, we could talk about Elder Scrolls in general for hours and hours. So
seriously, how badly have you been fighting off the temptation to reinstall either Oblivion or Skyrim because you can't play Elder Scrolls Online right now?
I actually could not win that fight. Sadly, I think I have both games installed right now.
Really?
Yeah. Oblivion, I have installed vanilla because vanilla is the best way to play Oblivion. You know, if you haven't played it in a while.
I always do a fast air arrows mod just because the arrows were like cardboard tubes in that one.
Yeah, and Darnified. You have to have that UI mod.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Skyrim, it's, you know, whatever, 100 plus stupid mods already on that game. Like, I installed it today and I was like, oh, I'm going to play a little Skyrim because I can't play ESO, you know? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, wait, before I play, let me get some mods. You know, you spend 3 hours getting mods and then never play. And play the game all of 20 minutes and be like, all right, that was fun.
Yeah, that was great. Thanks, game. Bye. Yeah, I was at one point I was like up to 212 mods on Skyrim. It's just ridiculous. Gosh. Ridiculous. Yeah. All right, dude. Thanks for hopping on, man.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. All right, everybody else, be sure to subscribe. Check out those Twitch streams. Like I said, they're below. Go ahead and click through them. There's tons of streams that you can see us from in there. I stream every Wednesday night. Michael streams whenever he can. So subscribe on Twitch. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and everywhere else. Have a good night.